you doing tonight?
Oh, happy to be tied after one.
Yeah, I would say that we're probably lucky.
Yeah, definitely. It was a slow start to the game. Um, Looked like maybe there were some ice issues in the Canucks end, falling down a bit. Desharnais with a awful first pass out of the zone on that giveaway that led to the Byfield goal. Um, I mean, we need to find a way to score first. It's tiring playing from behind every game.
Mm-hmm.
The power play has looked okay. It's nice to see them get one there on the 5 minute power play, but definitely not enough chances on that 5 minutes. We're struggling off the rush on the power play to generate zone entry, and that's really wearing on our guys. Off the draw seems to be okay, but entering the zone, we just seem to have struggles with that, and I'm not sure why. We seem to be better 5-on-5 entering the zone.
The LA King have a very, very aggressive penalty kill. And I think you start to see during that 5 minute power play. I think one thing I think it hurts them. Obviously, Brock Besser's not on the ice. And
100%.
that can be hard, right? You see one of your guys go down, you're worried about him, and you do want to go out and play well in the power play to get that revenge via a goal. But it did look maybe they were a little shaken about the whole thing for a minute there. But you did start to see them, rather than trying to go east-west, they started going north-south, back up and down. And I think that's really what spread out LA, which it gave them that opportunity and ended up getting the goal. I mean, Kempner with a beautiful goal in his own net. So you don't see that very
Yeah.
often.
Thank you. Yeah, no, he's had a good start to the year, Kempner. So him and Lankinen, the two undefeated goalies in regulation still. So, yeah, we got to get them moving side to side more. We need to get some more high quality shots through. LA's blocking a lot of our chances.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously the hit on Besser was terrible. It was late, it was blindsided, and it was directly to the head. So I would expect a suspension coming for Jeannot, but I really didn't like our lack of response when it immediately happened. That seems to be a trend with this team a little bit. I don't know who was on the ice, but at that point, it doesn't really matter when your number one scorer is cold cocked like that. Someone's got to jump him. I would expect now that the 5 minute power play is over and the Kings power play there is over. In the second period, we might see Sherwood let loose here a bit to find some big hits. Hopefully, we can get some payback on one of LA's stars with some clean, heavy checks.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, at the end of the day, like, I think we even talked a little bit about this in one of the other streams, was the Todd Bertuzzi incident, right? Like, we don't need that kind of stuff. But we definitely need some kind of retribution. And that is challenging him to a fight or, yeah, like you said, a nice clean hit. Obviously, at this point in the game, Jeannot is not going to get anything because he is out of the game. But I mean, there's a lot of other guys out there to hit. So it's time to show them that we're not happy about them taking out our best player.
Yeah, they have plenty of targets. Fiala, Kempe, guys like that. Hopefully Sherwood can get some big hits on them because we know what he can do physically.
Right. Oh, captain, my captain.
Woo!
300 assists, the third fastest in NHL defenseman history. There's only two guys that did it quicker, and that is the greatest defenseman of all time, Bobby Orr, and then one of the most offensively gifted guys, it pains me to say, Brian Leetch, as a guy who beat us in 94, but give him his props. Beats out Paul Coffey by a single game. He's only 25. Like, what does this mean for Quinn Hughes? Like, what's the limit for this guy?
I mean, he's shown already this season that he's improved his game leaps and bounds over last season. The kid just is a student of the game, and he continues to get better almost night in and night out. It's absolutely wonderful to see, and to be named with legends like Orr and Leach and Coffey. I mean, that's something that Canucks fans have been waiting for forever. We've had some very good defensemen in this organization, but to have that number one star defenseman that drives the entire defensive core and leads by example, I mean, his possession numbers this season are absolutely unreal.
He's
The
above
difference
everyone.
miles above everyone. And you hear talk about Makar and stuff around the league and getting all of his points. And Makar benefits a lot from having people like Nathan McKinnon burying a lot of goals, and he feeds off of that sort of situation. Don't get me wrong, extremely talented and probably the second best defenseman in the league. But the way Hughes drives the play and dictates the play is what sets him above the others. And this season, too, he has yet to take a penalty this season, which is, considering his time on the ice, an incredible stat.
Yeah, because Quinn Hughes, I'm looking at the graphic here. Quinn Hughes is averaging having the puck on his stick for 3 minutes and 26 seconds every game. The next guy down is Cale Makar, like you said. He's at 251. So Quinn Hughes has almost a full 30 seconds on that, right? He has the puck on his stick. So there's a percentage of the game that you can say Quinn Hughes have it. Lane Hudson also coming in at 232. So, I mean, even a huger gap, because you look at that, the third guy in the league for most possession per game is Lane Hudson at 2 minutes and 32 seconds per game. Quinn Hughes is almost a full minute more, which is crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, and if there was one, I guess if you had to put a negative on Hughes right now, I'd say that sometimes when the team is struggling, he's guilty of trying to do too much. So sometimes he's holding on to the puck a little too long, which obviously adds to his possession numbers. But it's starting to balance out as the rest of the team is kind of catching up to him, because obviously he came into the season ready to go. And, he has his defensive partner from last year. Everyone else, pretty much through the whole lineup, had to learn to play with someone else.
So what's Myers and Susie's excuse?
We don't want to talk about that.
No.
No, like honestly, he just looked so much more ready and looks so much more ready than everyone. And I don't know how he can help as a captain push the rest of the team to be ready when the puck drops. Because it sure would be nice to score first one of these games.
Yeah, it'll happen. I remember, was it last year where I think it was almost every game. It was like a ridiculous stat. It was like 75% of the time they scored first. So if they can get that kind of mojo back, then they might be unbeatable.
I mean, we are the best third period team still in the league for the last year and a half, I think the stats dictate. So
yeah, we'll take that.
Those stats are good, but it's nice to be going into the third with a lead and not having to come back all the time.
But I think what you saw a lot last year was not only to begin the year they were scoring first all the time, but as the year went on, they started to realize that they could win anyway. No matter what happened in the game, they could win it. They were down, if they were up, right? It didn't matter. The Canucks found ways to win. And I mean, they really are kind of picking up where they started left off last year, because this year they haven't even really found their A game yet, and they're still winning games like crazy out there. So it's good to see.
Well, and I think you can point to people like Lankinen, as we're going to talk about here soon, being a big part of that ability to generate wins and keep stealing games.
Yeah. I mean, you even saw, like, let's just talk about it. Blankinen, right? And we're calling him Blankinen on the stream. Well, we're calling him
Absolutely
Lanky when he's bad and Blanky when he's good, but we haven't had to call him Lanky yet. So, even tonight, like, you saw him whiffs on a pass and still manages to get the save off. So that's just good reaction there.
Yeah, I mean, his goals against average is 209, and he's got a 923 save percentage, which is the best in the league for goalies that have played over 5 games.
Yeah.
He's ahead of people like Connor Hellebuck, Jake Ottinger, Igor Shesterkin. Like, these guys are making millions of dollars, and Alvin signs this guy when training camp has already started for $1.5 million. Like, what a steal! Like, you look at numbers like Stuart Skinner in Edmonton and how desperate they would be to have someone like Lankinen, and it just speaks to Alvin's trust in his scouting reports and the work that the front office is doing to bring in the pieces that fit, and they all seem to be working.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was watching a couple of comment threads on Reddit today, and people were asking, like, how do the Canucks suddenly have all these goalies? And they're like, well, he just got to the team. It's not like he's had time to work with our coaching staff and all that. But like you said there, it's all about the scouting, because Ian Clark is not just the goaltender coach; he is their goaltender consultant. So when they need a
Mhm.
goalie, he's the guy who's like, okay, this is the guy we can work with really easy. This is someone who's got lots of issues. So clearly he went out, and that was probably a part of his job, was to find that guy to replace Demko while he's still on the IR.
Yeah, and I think the secret with Lankinen is he's always been good. He's just been playing behind much better goalies.
Mm-hmm.
Last year he was playing behind Saros, who had an incredible year in Nashville, and so yeah, it's just great work by our guys to bring him in and bridge that gap to when Demko comes back.
So let's hop on over. The next one's not as much of a fun topic, unfortunately. Start off with Forbort. The other day, he
Hmm.
left practice after getting tangled up, got assessed. They've now come out and said that he's probably going to be out at least a month, they're thinking.
Yeah, they've said week to week, which is always a difficult timeline. You never really know what kind of injury that is in that case.
Mm-hmm.
Their lower body injuries, they aren't saying much, but when it's week to week, sometimes that kind of leads me to an ankle issue,
Mm-hmm.
because those can linger and flare up and swell and that sort of thing. It's just unfortunate. He's had an unlucky year so far with the loss of his dad, and now injured after one game back. Um, you know, the one thing it might force is Alvin to make a move sooner for another defenseman. Um, Not that we don't have depth, but we definitely need another player that's a bit able to move the puck, someone with a little more size than Brandstrom and that. So um, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Canucks. I mean, obviously, there's been talk of them looking out there anyways for
Mm-hmm.
people like Bowen Byram or something like that. So I would expect that timeline to get bumped up a little bit now with that Forbort injury.
Yeah, I mean the other rumor you heard was Anderson in Calgary, so maybe they can give us another Zadorov deal, but I don't think I'd want to, give up as much. But it's going to be
Yeah,
hard to
no,
get Anderson out of there because he's obviously their number one defenseman right now.
absolutely. Yeah, it would probably cost a pretty penny to get him out of there right now because Calgary is not necessarily having a poor start to the season. They may fall off here eventually, but they need to hold on to their assets, I think, for a little while longer. I don't think there's many teams out there really shopping people. Um, I think probably another couple weeks, the 20 game mark is when teams really kind of know what they need or don't need.
Yeah.
So I would expect in the next 2 weeks for trade rumors and things like that to really start heating up. Probably a coach change here or there around the league.
So what are you hearing about Joshua? Because he did have the scheduled maintenance day the other day where he missed it, but then the next day he was supposed to be on the ice for practice. Didn't end up doing that. Kind of a setback in his progress. Did you hear?
I haven't really heard much if it's a setback or maybe just the team's starting to gel a bit. Um, and that may have pumped the brakes a bit on getting him back in the lineup. Um, you know, the Canucks were kind of floundering there to find their identity and weren't really showing much. And the talk around Joshua coming back would be like a big trade and really boost the team. But then they came out and had their best game of the year against Anaheim, and so I think that maybe pushed back a little bit on rushing Joshua into the lineup. Um, he made a previous road trip for support and morale just to be around the team, so it wouldn't be unusual if he doesn't draw in until the team gets back to Vancouver. I just think it's a case of they don't want to get him in there and over fatigue him or things like that. He may still be on some medications and stuff like that as well from the cancer recovery. So
Mm-hmm.
we don't know the ins and outs of all of that, right? But we do know that it's a difficult disease and it takes time to get your body back to full strength. So I would expect it. That now that the team is starting to show signs in the right direction, that they can get him in when he's ready, and we'll just go from there.
Yeah, you'll love to have the time to let him get rested.
Yeah,
So the Abbey Canucks have finally broken the streak of win loss
the wrong way
the
though.
wrong way.
Yeah,
Break it down for us because
yeah,
it was ugly. It was ugly.
it was ugly. they broke the trend of by losing 2 in a row, and this one was a tough start and game just overall defensively. Um, the Ontario Reign really preyed on our zone defense coverage. It was leaving a trail man open quite often. I think about 4 of the goals they scored was a trail man on the backside. Just real weak back checking. They're getting pushed back in too deep, the 2 defensemen, and then the forward that's kind of back checking isn't really picking up that extra guy. Oman was brutal, had a brutal back check on one of the goals early, one of the first 2 goals.
It's 2 bad games in a row for him.
Yeah, he's really not going down and showing signs of wanting to come back up. That's for sure. Not the way that Ratu went down and did all the right things. And unfortunately, Tolopilo was just kind of left out to dry and was pulled after allowing 4 goals off 7 shots in the first period. That forced Patera to to come in when he hadn't warmed up much or anything, and he was forced to make a few acrobatic saves real early on a penalty kill.
Mm-hmm.
And it appeared like he pulled a groin or something. He was on the ice for a few minutes and had to be helped off and straight down the tunnel. And then today we saw that Ty Young has been recalled from Kalamazoo to join the Abbey Canucks. So it looks like that Patera is going to be missing some time with that injury with the recall of Young. And so that was unfortunate. It forced Tolopilo back into the game, already kind of getting shelled, bad headspace. And so it was just kind of bad from there. They did get within 2. There were some positive moments. Leka Aramaki did score again. So he has 5 goals in his last 5 games. And he did also put another 5 shots on goal. So he continues to generate and push offensively. But our defensive struggles and our penalty kill continues to struggle as well, giving up another power play goal in the game in the 3rd period. So overall, I would expect there's a lot that they can take from that game for footage and maybe changing their defensive zone coverage a bit. A trend I've noticed is that with teams that they haven't played, they come out and win that first game. And then the next game, the team is finding a way to get that back door open and finding the weakness, which could be a sign of, Manny Malhotra is a rookie head coach. He's going to take some time to learn systems and things like that. And so the Canucks are just struggling to find their identity so far. And hopefully that won't continue and they can start to get some wins here soon.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to have a look and see. It looks like Besser might not be back tonight. So that might be the injury that gets Leckermacky the call up, but we'll have to wait and see.
Could be. Let's get to the second period here and we'll talk to you later.
Yeah, talk to you in the post-game show, Dustin. Thanks for stopping by.
Nothing is perfect.